Tara Omatosho with Inspired into Action, interviewing women who are taking action in their business. Today, I am interviewing Miss Ocielia Gibson. She's going to tell us about herself and what it is that she does. How are you doing today, Ocielia?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you doing, Ty?
I'm doing great. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk with the listeners about who you are and what it is that you do and all the programs that you have going on.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
All right, great. For those that don't know who you are, could you introduce yourself and tell the listeners more about you?
Oh, sure, definitely. My name, as you said, is Ocielia Gibson. I always share with people that I have a unique name because I was named after my grandmother. My mother's mother, her name was Ocie, and so when I was born, my mother had the bright idea to name me after her and name me Ocielia, which is where my name comes from. Grew up in a small town, Southern girl, Texas girl, grew up in a small town, and when I was younger, we didn't have the money to participate in all of the things I wanted to participate in. One of those things was pageantry. And so when I went away to college, I made it my business to get started in the world of pageantry and compete. I'm not one of those girls from Toddlers and Tiaras where I grew up doing pageants since I came out of the womb. No, I started when I was 17, and my objective was clear. I wanted to be Miss America or Miss Black USA. I was like, I'm going to go big or not at all. So it took me 2 years, and I finally was crowned Miss Black USA in 2011. After many years of competing and working my way up to a national pageant. And after being Miss Black USA now, I'm an author, I am a speaker, and also a girls minister. I work full-time for a church here in Dallas, where my job and responsibility is to develop programming and services to help with the social, emotional development and spiritual development of teen girls. So that is what I do. My company is called More Than a Pretty Face International. I founded it in college as an inner city sort of a mentoring program for girls in schools, but now it has grown to have exposure and reach for girls and women throughout the U.S. and Kenya through my workshops, speaking, books, resources, and programs. So that is, in a nutshell, who I am, as much of a nutshell as I could.
No, that's awesome. I love that the concept, More Than a Pretty Face. That's a great name. So, what made you want to be involved in pageantry? I mean, a lot of people, they see the contest, they see the things going on the television, and every girl dreams of maybe being a princess, but not none, but hardly some. Few take it as far as you have taken it. So, what really inspired you to really be focused, especially since you didn't have a background and you didn't have the backing that some of these girls have when they go through these contests?
Right. I just was enamored always with the Miss America and Miss Texas and Miss Universe competitions when I was growing up. My mom and we would watch every year. It was an event when Miss America came on in our household. Now, my mother never competed in pageants either. So I don't know what it was, our fascination with pageants, maybe because we're both glamour girls, because my mother is still very fashionable, very much a fashionable lady, and where I get a lot of my style and my love for all things femininity from. But we were just both so excited and so just enamored with that whole world. And we would really root for the girls. It was like the female Super Bowl.
Oh, wow. To that extent, wow.
It's deep, Tom. It's deep. It still is my personal female Super Bowl. It is so for me. But yeah, we were so excited about it, and I loved everything about it and everything that I saw that pageantry represented. It was the showcase of these intelligent, poised, accomplished, beautiful women. And everything within me wanted to be that type of woman when I grew up. So when I saw these young women and they were so talented, so poised, so beautiful, so glamorous, and so well spoken, I was like, I want to be that type of lady. That's the type of woman I aspire to be. Wow. So although I didn't have the resources growing up, it was still a vision that I held on to. So when I was in college, I decided to fundraise my way to participate in pageants. Wow. So it's something about having a vision. It was a vision I had since I was a very young girl. I saw it and it resonated with me.
Mm.
Now, like you said, everyone it doesn't resonate with at that level. They may admire it, they may think it's something entertaining to watch, but with me, it truly resonated because it was God's purpose for me. God had that for me. So when I saw it, instead of it being something that was just there for entertainment value, I saw that as an inspiration and something to aspire to, and eventually a way for me to live out my other purpose, my deeper purpose of empowering young women. A lot of the doors that opened for me to start working with young women and to author my first book, things of that nature, came from my pageant experience. So that's what it was, ultimately, because God placed a desire within me. It was part of my purpose.
Right, and he knew the bigger plan, and that's the main thing I want people to hear from that, is that, you know, you might have a goal and a vision that you go after, like Ocielia has, but you don't know the bigger plan in that. And so go with it with all your might, because, like, I mean, you had visions of maybe mentoring girls, but you didn't know how that was going to come about. But like you said, doors started opening for you to do this when you became Miss Black USA. So this is awesome, awesome. So I'm sure that the road wasn't always easy for you. So could you talk about some of the challenges that you faced when maybe if it's even coming through the pageantry or just getting to those steps? Could you talk about some of the challenges that you have overcome through this process?
Yes, well, absolutely. When I was younger, I would say initially in my childhood, my challenge was growing up in a single parent home without my father. Unfortunately, my father wasn't in my life growing up, and he died when I was 10 years old. He died the day after Christmas when I was 10. So growing up in that single parent home, although I feel like I was still very blessed because I had such a dedicated mother who was a superwoman in my eyes and still is, and because I was able to grow up with my grandmother, whom I'm her namesake, I grew up in a 3-generation home, but there's still something about not having your father in your life, not having that father figure. You know, there's still that missing piece, right? That every young person, every girl wants to have in her life. So that was definitely a struggle. And I definitely dealt with self-esteem issues because of it, because of not having my father in my life. Also, I think another struggle that I had growing up with feeling that I was good enough was the skin issues that I had. I'm allergic to everything. Like,
oh, wow.
Everything outside. Oh, literally. Let me tell you, I'm allergic to cedar trees, elm trees, birch trees.
Wow.
I am allergic to Timothy grass, Bermuda grass, Johnson grass. I'm allergic to pollen.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
I'm allergic to so much. I have sinus and allergies year round.
Oh, wow.
And because of those allergies, my skin would break out. A lot. And so when I was growing up, people would talk behind my back and I would be teased. And so I was known as leopard, spotted body, and alligator skin.
Wow. All because of, and they didn't even know what was going on with you, just wanted to call names.
They didn't care.
They didn't care. Most of the time they don't, though. Yeah.
Right. Like,
yeah.
They didn't care. So, I mean, I wasn't bullied in school, so I want to make sure I make that clear. I wasn't bullied by any means, but that was what I was known as behind my back and what people would call me. I was known as that girl.
Wow.
So much to the point where a couple of years ago, I did a girls' conference in my hometown. I hosted a summit, and one of the babies that attended the conference, she came up to me and she was like, wow, Miss Ocielia, like, this was such a great opportunity. And she said, it's so good to meet you. And she was like, you know, I never knew your name. It's so good to know that your name is Miss Ocielia. My older cousins always called you Leopard.
Oh, wow. That is, wow.
Yo, yes.
Wow.
And she was being so genuine. Because you know how children, they say things, and it may not be the appropriate thing to say, and it may not be the thing to say at that time, but they're just so honest because they're children.
Right.
So she was genuinely just telling me, I'm excited to know your name, and I had a great time because my cousins just used to call you Leopard.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, that's sad.
So,
yeah.
So it was
I know everything probably in you, but I mean, I know your character. I know you probably just like, oh, thank you, whatever, probably brushes off. But do you tell her Leopard said, hey, and no, or now that Leopard is Miss Black USA, I mean, everything in me wanted to say that.
Right, I'll probably clap him back with class. But,
right, yeah.
But no, I didn't say anything. I think I was just in shock. I was like, did she just say what?
Right.
Child just say to me what I thought she said. But I was still gracious because the child, she was really being very genuine. But yeah, so those were some of the things I dealt with growing up. I didn't even go to my senior prom. I was so insecure about my skin and how I looked. I don't know what it's like to go to senior prom. So growing up, I had a lot of those things to overcome. And so when I was in college and I decided to really take seriously my desire to compete and to win a national title and to set that trail to start going on that journey, one of the things that I really had to do was do a lot of self-reflection and really build my confidence in who I was, because I had been torn down so much growing up by circumstances that I was born into and different things surrounding my life with even my peers growing up, that I had to take that opportunity as a young woman to develop who I was. From the inside out and really appreciate who I was created to be. So doing that was something that was very helpful for me. The hardest thing about pageantry, you said my challenge in pageantry, the most difficult thing I think was not winning Miss Black Texas. I competed in Miss Black Texas 3 times in a row before I won.
Wow.
I competed 3 times in a row. Wow. And I was second runner-up twice. So it'd been different if I was second runner-up and then first runner-up and then I won. I would have made improvements. But I was second runner-up 2 times.
Wow.
And so it was devastating and very difficult to go back that 3rd time because I could not make it to Miss Black USA unless I had won Miss Black Texas. You had to win your state in order to advance to nationals. And it was a dream that I knew the Lord had put inside of me to do it. And he showed me that I was going to impact many more girls on a national level once I got that national title. The reason for me competing became so I could gain influence and access and more opportunities to work with more young ladies, and particularly in the Black community. So the Lord really showed me that, me being a person of faith, being a young woman of faith, it was really something I was inspired to do spiritually. So that was the difficult thing, really pressing through what I perceived to be failures to move forward in my pageant career to ultimately win a national title.
Wow. Now you probably look back at those experiences where there's quote unquote failures as like this timing. Maybe it wasn't time for that to happen. And because do they ever give you feedback after you become like the runner up for the following year if you want to run again? What were some of the comments?
It's interesting. I was able to get feedback from the judges. You can look at your judges sheets, and see what the scores were and what comments they left. And it was just hit and miss. I think, what was it? One year I had a judge. See, this is the thing. Sometimes you have judges that know what they're doing, and sometimes you have judges who don't. And I had a judge one year. I'm a classically trained pianist. I played piano for 20 years. I played since I was 8 years old. My bachelor's degree is in music education.
Oh, wow.
I performed at Carnegie Hall when I was in college. So I knew piano, right? I'm very, very much experienced as a pianist. And so for talent, I always performed piano. A piano solo is my talent. And so I think this particular year I had performed The Flight of the Bumblebee. And the judge, I think, marked me down and said I needed to do a harder piece and said, I needed to face the audience. And I'm like,
I'm playing piano. I'm like, okay.
I was like, so clearly this judge knows nothing about music or piano. Because I'm like, Flight of the Bumblebee is a difficult piece to play. Like, what do you mean I need to play something more difficult? And then look at the audience,
like, why? You're not singing. Like, you're not Alicia Keys on the piano, and you need to sing as well. So, yeah.
Right. So I was like, okay, clearly you don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
But yes, so I remember sometimes the feedback that I got was, great feedback, but then sometimes it was just off the wall and bizarre like that. And I'm like, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. And so that's where constructive criticism comes in. I feel that when you take criticism, you have to take it from people who are experienced and specialized in whatever it is you're trying to do.
Right.
And also, it needs to be something that you can build upon.
Yeah.
Constructive criticism means you're constructing something. It's criticism that helps you to build and construct something. So I took feedback from the judges, but I was also able to recognize when it was coming from a credible source that had specialized knowledge, was a subject matter expert, or whether it was somebody who really just didn't know what they were talking about in that area and just saying something. So you have to be able to discern and to, listen very discreetly, be very, very discerning with how you take feedback from other people.
Yeah, my mother-in-law would say to eat the meat and spit out the bones. Those things that are meat and that are good, that apply to you, you go ahead and you take note of that. But those things that don't apply to you, that were just whatever, you just spit that out and keep moving. Right, keep moving. So thinking about your challenges, what are some things that you, looking back in your history and your past and the things that you have done, what are some things that you would encourage, the things that went well, that you would encourage the viewers, that you would talk to them about? Like, maybe it was with writing your book, or maybe it was with running in the pageantry. What are some of those things, those nuggets that you would pass on that you feel that they need to know?
Yes, first I would say the importance of having a mentor or a coach is, it's essential, it's invaluable. I mean, I'm telling you, you have to get a coach or a mentor in the field that you are seeking out. This goes back to what I was just sharing, making sure you're dealing with someone that has specialized knowledge, who has experience in that field, someone who is a subject matter expert. One of the best things I did when I started my pageant journey, the first year that I competed in pageants, I was 17 and I did not place. I was so crushed.
Oh, wow.
I was crushed.
Yeah.
But that second time around that I went back at 18 to that same pageant, I had a coach that year.
Yes.
And I was able to place as a top 6 finalist.
Because you had a coach. Because you had a coach.
I had a coach.
Yes.
I had someone who knew the ropes. They knew the pitfalls. They helped me to avoid the mistakes. They were able to give me direct feedback on my performance. They were able to help me put a plan together and prepare. I had someone to truly guide and teach me in that field what was expected, what would help me to excel, help me to see my blind spots, help me to see what I was good at, what I needed to accentuate more, like what were my areas of performance that I really, where I shined. I needed to know those things as well. And so that help and that preparation, that training, true training, is what helped me to be successful as I continued in my career. And I worked with that coach. So coaching and mentorship is so important. And so many times we want to get something for nothing.
Yeah.
But there are some things you just have to pay for.
Yes.
But you can't always ask for free help. So getting a coach, hiring a coach to help you, if it is impossible for you to hire someone to help you, seek out mentorship. But I think you should get a mentor anyway, but seek out mentorship. And I would suggest that you approach the mentor in a way where it's a value add to them as well, and where you're honoring them. I don't recommend that you go and just ask somebody to pick their brain, because people who are successful, they are used to people always asking them for something, always wanting and not giving. And so if you're dealing with someone that is successful in their field, there's a person of influence, my recommendation will be that you come and ask to help them in any kind of way. If you have a service, if you have some resources, if there is something that you can provide and where you can glean from that person as you're providing a service to them, do that. Honor their work. And be an asset to them, add value to them. Or even if you're just going to buy them lunch, everyone has to eat.
Yes. Right.
I don't
Right.
care how successful we are. No one is starving to death, right?
Right. Right. Everyone will love lunch.
Right. Everybody loves a free lunch, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, offer to take them out to eat, have a lunch with them or something.
Hmm.
I would say just do something to demonstrate that you are honoring them and valuing their time,
Hmm.
and that you're not a person just with your hands out, because they are accustomed to that.
Right.
So that's really important. I think mentorship and coaching is just key. You don't have to figure out everything on your own. And you can't, no matter how much research and Googling you do,
Yeah.
there's some things that are trade secrets, insider secrets, that you need to get from someone that is in the know. And there are pitfalls that you can avoid from learning from someone else's valuable experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you're right. You can Google all these things, but just imagine, we always talk about what is the difference between the price and the cost. Like, what is it going to cost you to not know that information right now? Yeah, and you may say that the price of a mentorship is too much and you can't afford it, or whatever it is, it doesn't fit your budget. But what is it costing you to not have a mentor? Ask yourself that question. What is it costing you? And it's costing you a whole lot, because a mentor, like you said, that's a subject matter expert, that's been there, that's been through the situation that you're going through. They will teach you, like you said, the pitfalls, the things to avoid, and really just give you a shortcut to where you're trying to go, as opposed to taking the long road and maybe getting there, maybe not. I mean, they can't guarantee your success, because it all depends on your work. However, you can take the nuggets that they're willing to give you and move forward if that's what you want to do. That's great advice. Great advice. Great advice. That sort of moves into sort of the next question, that I was going to say. What are some skills that you think business owners or authors need to have in this day, and social media and the things that are going on in business? What are some of the skills that you think are important that they should have?
Absolutely. I'll speak on being an author first.
Okay.
Being an author, you definitely need the skill of time management, and you have to have some accountability set up, because it is so easy, because authoring a book and writing a book, it's so easy to get distracted and to not want to sit down and simply write the book, type the manuscript. I mean, it's very difficult to get yourself still and quiet and to just sit and write for most people. It's very difficult to do. So I think definitely time management. And even though, of course, we don't really manage time, we manage our activities according to the time, but being able to manage those activities so that you can really get still and write that book, and prioritizing the work of getting your book out. I would also suggest to authors, those who are interested in authoring a book, that before you're trying to get a book deal, before you're trying to get a publishing deal, simply get the work together. Put the manuscript together. Outline your manuscript. Set a writing schedule for yourself. Do the research in your writing schedule. Set a time for researching for your book. And then set a time for actually writing your book. Now everyone's an author. Like, everyone is writing.
Everyone. I haven't written a book for that reason.
Right, because everyone has a book.
Yeah.
What is that saying? There's a lot of books out there, to be honest, that people don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
Because anyone can self-publish.
Right.
Anyone. Right.
Anyone.
And just because it's written in a book doesn't mean it's factual, and it doesn't mean that it's proven, and it does not mean that it will give you results. It does not mean that they know what they are talking about. It's just people are just able to self-publish. So I would say you want your work to be quality. So in your writing schedule, create space in there for research, as well as the time to actually write your work. So that's what I would say for authors, the activity management, time management of that, and making sure you're well researched. And then you're also taking that time to write. But for business owners, activity management, time management is key, but learning how to prioritize your activities and focusing on those income generating activities. So many times we get so busy and just busy work and making a pretty website. I'm guilty. I am that girl. I love everything to be cute. I'm really big on branding. So that's the fun part for me, making everything look great. But so many times we can get tied up into non-essentials in our business instead of the real work. So being able to manage your time to work on income generating activities. And I will also say it's really, really important that we understand people and communication skills, and that you have great customer service and client care. That will take you it will take you a long way in business, being able to have those good soft skills. And that's part of what I teach young women when I do my confidence and pageant coaching. I teach them the importance of etiquette and soft skills, because it's a life skill that you need to know whether you're in business or not. So customer service, and what else would I say would be really, really important? There's just so many. Gosh, sales.
Yeah, no, but I mean, you answer. I mean, the answers that you're giving thus far, I'm like, yeah, that's really great. I'm like, yes, check, you got it. Yes, yes. I mean, because I mean, especially when you were talking about customer care and customer service, I think the only thing I would add to that is like integrity. Do what you say you're gonna do when you're gonna do it. Be a person of your word. If you can't do it, just communicate. Like you said, just communicate with people. People would take that more, they would see more value in you saying, you know what, I need to push this back a week because some things came up, as opposed to trying to skirt around, avoiding their phone calls, you know, whatever it is that people do sometimes. And I know that, and I notice in our business when, because we stand in integrity. However, we're like the cleanup company. A lot of times people will come to us when someone has been unfair to them, or you know, dishonest, untrustworthy, and you know, we have to sort of like work extra hard. Not that we're not working hard workers, but work extra hard to, you know, sort of patch that up, patch that bad space up. So it's definitely important to be a person of your word.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, Celia, I didn't do this in the beginning, but I need to do this now. Like, where can people find you on social media? And then also, after you talk about that, could you tell us about some of the things that you have going on, and maybe some specials that you have for the listeners?
Yes, absolutely. I am the beauty of having a unique name.
Right.
Is that I can just put my first name on everything, kind of like Beyonce.
Right,
So,
right. That is true.
Ocielia everywhere. My name is spelled Ocielia. I break the rule. So it's Ocielia.com, Ocielia.com. Also Ocielia on all social media, on Instagram at Ocielia, Facebook, Ocielia Gibson, and then on Twitter at Ocielia. So that's where you can find me. Just put my first name in, and I am literally the only. Well, there are a couple of others that come up, but I'm the main one that comes up.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. I bet you were surprised at that. Right. Like my name is kind of catchy. I like it because I like your grandmother's name, OC. I think that's just really cute. Like, OC. Like, I don't know. I like that though. I like that. I mean, I like your name too, but I just like OC is kind of cool. Like, have a nickname like OC.
It is, and that's actually my nickname. My
Oh,
friends
okay.
call me OC for short. Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool nickname. Cool nickname. So, what are some things that you have going on? Like, I know that you have. What are the programs and things that you have coming out soon?
Yes. So More Than a Pretty Face International, we just started our pageant coaching division last year.
Yeah.
So we were solely focused on ministry to girls and women, and then speaking and workshops. But as of last year, we've developed the pageant coaching division, which is called More Than Pretty Queen. More Than Pretty Queen is now launched. And so I offer private one-on-one coaching to young ladies and women who are interested in the pageant field, the pageant world, so to speak. And then I also am developing a group program that will be launching soon called Slay Your Pageant.
That's hot.
Thank you. So I'm so excited about that, the private coaching I'm getting to do. But also what I do have that is available to your listeners, because out of all of my work, working with women and young college students and teen girls with the etiquette and confidence development, I have a freebie for them. I have a special. It is 4 ways to polish your professional persona.
Wow.
So I have it available. It's on my website. So if they go to ocielia.com/inspire, they can put their email in there and I will send them the free report. So that's a free guide. If any lady is out there, she's a businesswoman and she's ready to up-level her professional appearance and persona, she can learn some of the tips from the beauty queens that they use and actually use that in her life to be a queen in her business.
Right. So, amen. That's great. That is great. Yeah, you can always be a queen in your business.
That's right. And you
Yeah.
are the queen of your business. There you
Yes,
go.
you are. You're right. You are. You are. So, and the last question I want to leave with the listeners is if there's anything that you wanted to share besides the questions that I asked you, if there's anything in particular that you want to share, you have the floor.
Okay, awesome. Yes, I think the last thing I would share, because we talked a little bit about me being an author,
Mm-hmm.
but about my book, More Than Pretty,
Mm-hmm.
Redefine Beauty, through the lens of scripture. That's available on my website
Okay.
as well as Amazon. It is a 6-week Bible study for teen girls, but it's geared towards all 5 senses and being beautiful through all 5 senses, not just through what they see. So from their spirit, their attitude, the way that they speak, the way they treat others, and then the icing on top of the cake. I say that your outer appearance is a reflection of the inner radiance that you have. The icing on the cake is how they look and their actual physical appearance. So that is available. I did want to share that.
Yeah.
And I would just really encourage all of your listeners to just own who they are. And with that message of beauty and being full of beauty and filled with beauty, I always say that beautiful women change the world because they are filled with beauty from the inside out.
Yeah.
So your message, your product, your business that you're developing, the woman that you are aspiring to be, it's all within reach. And so it's really important that you embrace who you are while working on who you are in your bid and your business in order to be where you want to be. It's all very much possible. So I wanted to encourage all of your visitors to do that, that is within reach, and that we have so much great work to do. So we can get started doing it and really walking in the fullness of who God created us to be.
Hey man, that was great. I love that. And go get the book. I mean, that would be a great Valentine's gift for your daughter, your niece. I mean, you know, for that special young lady in your life. I mean, I don't have any girls, but I know a young lady that would benefit from that. So I think that would be a great gift to give to anyone, just because it's about the love of the Lord. It has nothing to do with the love of a guy and how he may treat you or should treat you, but it has all to do with how he should treat you. Because if you're able to learn the keys that are in your book, you will know how you should be treated and you will act accordingly. So I think that all the listeners should go out and get that for their daughters, their nieces, granddaughters for Valentine's Day. I think that would be awesome.
That would be awesome, because that is the greatest love, for them to know the love of God
Yeah.
and really knowing who they are in Christ, knowing that love of God and being that young woman that is filled with his beauty to emanate it out into the world and to walk powerfully in who God created them to be.
Yeah, that's
And then they'll be ready to meet whoever they need to meet way down the road.
Right. Right, they're not there. Well, maybe someone might be there. You know, a granddaughter could be like, you know, in her 30s. But you know, I mean, you know, it don't have to be a young lady. It could be an old one that doesn't that needs to know these things. I mean, we're never too old to learn things at all. And I'm sure anybody can get some nuggets from your book.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you again for taking this time out in your schedule. I really appreciate it. And you know, that's all I have to say. I learned a lot. I hope the listeners learned a lot about who you are, and hopefully they'll get in contact with you and they will take you up on your offer of the Inspire. You tell that offer again?
Yes, it's Ocielia.com, Ocielia.com /inspire to get your 4 secrets to raising your professional persona.
Great. Get those 4 secrets. Thank you. Have a good evening.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.